In this video, let us talk about how you handle problems that occur when you write or run your code. Let's create our project for this, which we've already done, handling exceptions. And in here, I'll try to accept some input from the console from my users. So, let's say I have an int user age. Alright, and then I want to do a bit of calculation from what the user inputs to calculate the user age. I know this is coming as a string, so I'll call this user input, and I'll make that equals to console dot readline, because that is how I accept input from the console. You know what, let me make this a little bit user friendly. What year were you born? Alright, as I put that in, what I need to do now is calculate the user age. So I can say int user year of birth equals int dot parse the user input. I'm just trying to make this as simple as possible. I could have written all this in one line. Alright, I get that input, and then user age will now be the current year, datetime dot now dot year. Remember our datetime variable, minus the user year of birth, and then I would output this back to the console. You know what, I'll do a bit of copy and paste here. And I'll put your age is put an user age in there. Assuming all things go well, this should not be a problematic code. This should just work fine. If I try to run it, it would ask me for the year I was born in. I put that in and then it calculates my age normally. It's building and then it will run now. So I put in I was born in the year 2000. That's not true. So my age now is 21. Now let's say I am a user who does not know what exactly I was supposed to enter, and I put in year 2000 literally as a string. Let me ask for that input, and then I was born in the year 2000. Boom, I get an error that says there's an unhandled exception in my code, that the input string was not in the right format. So I need to fix this. So sometimes when you write code, when you run code, there are some unexpected input that happens. That is called an exception. Things that deviate from the normal way things are supposed to run. That is an exception. And we should be able to handle as much as we can in our code. So what we'll do here is, there are two ways of doing this. We can use the try-catch method, which most developers use, or we can try to validate the input if it's an integer and then output the integer, but if not, make that return a message back to the user. But we'll not deal with the second method, we'll deal with the try-catch method in this code. So what we'll do is over here, once we've gotten the input, we'll put a try wrapper around this code. And what the try wrapper does is that it does its best to execute this code. Okay, it does its own very best to execute this code. But if it's finally unable to do that, we now catch the exception. So what happens now that when this code is not able to run, if there's an error anywhere here, this block of code will take the problem and try to make it do what you want to do if the problem occurs. So we can now say console.writeLine, sorry, your input was wrong, something like that. This is P. We can also, of course, put in the exception type here. Okay, just like we normally pass in a method, and then we put in the message of the exception in here. Okay, so here we can put in e.message. That is the message that the exception library throws us. So we'll get input was not in the right format as an addendum to this. So you know what? Let me make this be on a new line. Remember our escape sequences. Now, there's another bit of fun thing with try-catch. So, regardless of if your code runs or not, you want some code to execute, you can use the finally block to determine and say, hey, even if there's a problem or not, I still want to greet my users goodbye. Okay? I still want to greet my users goodbye. So I put that bit of code here. So if there's a problem or not, this bit of code will run anyways. So let's actually try to run this now and put in some very bad input and some good inputs. Let's try with the bad input. So just as I did earlier on, year 2020. So I get a more nicely formatted error message now, and I see the goodbye run. Let's run this again and try now with a good input. So I put in 2020. My code runs normally, and then I still get my goodbye. That is one way to handle exceptions in C#. I hope you enjoyed it. In the next video, we'll actually work with a simple currency converter. I'll watch and see you there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you will get notifications when I post new videos on this channel. See you in another video. Goodbye.